Hello everyone, my name is Marianne Budnick and I'm the Chief Marketing Officer for CyberArk. It's my pleasure to welcome you to today's event, CyberArk's launch of a new exciting solution for reducing risk and improving visibility in cloud infrastructure platforms. Organizations everywhere are accelerating digital transformation initiatives and moving IT resources to hybrid and multi-cloud environments. At the same time, the number of privileged credentials associated with human, application, and machine identities is growing exponentially, and so are the risks. Today, we're going to dig into some of the specific challenges associated with securing cloud identities and CyberArk's innovative new solution to meet those challenges. You'll first hear from industry experts, customers, and CyberArk's best and brightest about the risks associated with managing identities in the cloud and their related permissions. CyberArk's labs and product teams will walk us through all of the ways our innovative new AI-driven solution addresses the risks, meets the challenges head-on, and helps drive least privilege across cloud environments. Finally, we'll close out with some initial impressions from industry experts along with CyberArk customers and partners. We have so much to share, it's going to be an incredible session. First, let's start with CyberArk's founder, chairman, and CEO, Udi Mokady, to introduce what's in store for today's announcement. Take it away, Udi.
Thanks, Marianne, and hello, everyone. We are excited to have you join us today as we introduce a new product and share our broader vision for securing privilege in the cloud. 2020 has seen a massive acceleration in the adoption of cloud computing across the globe. While many companies were already in the process of enabling a remote workforce or digitizing their business, the global lockdown put these programs into overdrive. Right before our eyes, we are seeing years of digital transformation take place in just months. Sensitive systems and assets are rapidly moving to the cloud, whether that means lifting and shifting on-premise workloads, adopting SaaS, or developing new cloud-native applications. Make no mistake, we are in the middle of the great digital migration. But as with all migrations, the move from one place to another is fraught with risk. Not only can the act of moving expose vulnerabilities, the new landscape opens up a whole new set of challenges, especially when it comes to securing critical assets. In fact, the adoption of cloud is increasing the attack surface disproportionately. In the cloud, there's no physical network perimeter. Cloud security architectures are fragmented across multiple clouds, and there's a lack of expertise in cloud security. Smart companies will recognize these challenges, but will also identify this time as an opportunity to charge ahead as digital transformation and cloud adoption can dramatically affect business performance. At CyberArk, we're building solutions to help businesses reduce their risk, but at the same time enable them to move fearlessly forward into the worlds of cloud computing, remote work, and digital transformation. Today, we're introducing CyberArk Cloud Entitlements Manager, the industry's first AI-powered cloud security solution with a privilege-first approach to improve security and expand visibility of cloud infrastructure platforms. Like the rest of CyberArk's identity security portfolio, Cloud Entitlements Manager is anchored in privilege and offers customers an approach that reduces risk, simplifies operations, and improves business agility. But before we get into the details of today's announcement, let's hear from a few folks here who can give us some perspective on the challenges that security teams are facing in the cloud. All right, team, here we go.
I'm Doug Cahill, Senior Analyst with the Enterprise Strategy Group. ESG recently published a new report on identity and access management entitled Cloud-Driven Identities, the background research for which looked at how the adoption of cloud services is impacting identity and access management strategies, including the associated challenges and the threat landscape. Well, the results are in, and they're really quite interesting. They really spotlight the emerging risks associated with an organization's use of a broad range of cloud services. So what were some of the key findings? While research respondents reported that they had detected a range of misconfigured cloud services over the last 12 months, 3 out of the 4 top types of misconfigured cloud services had a common theme: identities. The most common type of misconfigured cloud service is over-permissioned accounts and roles. In addition to overly permissive accounts, our respondents shared that they also detected the lack of multi-factor authentication for access to cloud consoles. We also wanted to look at the connection between misconfigured cloud services, and data loss. There's a strong connection. Those organizations who reported that their company had lost data from a cloud store reported a higher incident rate of misconfigured cloud services. Beyond data loss, we also looked into the types of attacks that organizations had experienced against their cloud footprint. 3/4 of the respondents shared that their company had in fact experienced a cybersecurity attack against their cloud footprint in the prior 12 months. The theme of over-permissioned accounts continues. It was the #1 type of security attack against cloud applications and services, related again to overly permissive accounts. Now, in addition to overly permissive accounts, other identity-related attacks were also surfaced as those that were most common, including credential abuse, spear phishing, and unauthorized access to cloud-resident applications and data. So what's the best way to reduce risk in a cloud environment? Let's wrap this up by looking at the big picture with respect to some of the challenges our research respondents shared with us when it comes to managing identities across hybrid multi-cloud environments. There was a clear theme: lack of a consistency across these disparate environments. As such, to remedy this lack of consistency, our research respondents feel strongly that a unified approach to identity and access management that could extend across heterogeneous public and private clouds is essential to secure access to the applications and data that are deployed across those public and private clouds.
The security space is morphing, and it is extremely adaptable with with threats and bad actors that are looking for new ways to compromise companies and leverage new products and enhancements.
And far too often they're over-provisioned within applications. And in a cloud-based environment, it's even more difficult to understand what those applications would have access to, and more importantly, what they're capable of performing outside of the initial function in which it was defined.
We are a target for bad actors out there, constantly having to fend for ourselves and protect from attacks.
The biggest risk to companies when it comes to cloud-based entitlements is really having a full understanding of the inventory of identities that exist within the cloud.
There's a lot to lose if you have a misstep. So we're pretty calculated about what we're doing.
The only thing worse than not knowing what IDs you have defined within a system is truly not knowing where those identities exist and what they have access to.
So cloud security poses a different set of challenges, primarily because of the unknowns.
There are a number of challenges when it comes to managing user identities and accesses within the cloud environment, which really have to do with having a full inventory of identities that exist, but more importantly, having an understanding of the level of entitlements that have been granted and what those entitlements are truly accessing within your applications across your various cloud deployments.
Over the last decade, we've observed many security incidents that started by simply clicking on a link in a phishing email, exploiting a minor vulnerability on a single server, or by a malicious insider taking advantage of a privileged access. Many of these incidents ended in a full-blown data breaches with the compromise of sensitive data. We've seen that the difference between a major security incident, such as data breach or a complete account takeover, and a minor security incident, such as the one that is contained at an endpoint, is often defined by how well a company secures permissions that allow privileged access to critical assets. Our approach at CyberArk is based on an assume breach mindset, meaning that we assume that the endpoint security perimeter has already been breached, and the attacker is inside the customer environment looking to access the crown jewels. In the simplest terms, it's our version of hope for the best but plan for the worst for security. This state of mind requires that we implement a less privileged authorization model in our approach, as it is instrumental in reducing the risk of attackers' ability to compromise critical resources, systems, or sensitive data. As companies move to the cloud or undertake digital transformation projects, it is vital that we take the same mindset in securing cloud workloads. This is because in a cloud environment, the same principles of least privilege still apply. Even in the cloud, the authorization attack surface is the set of permissions that attackers use to enable attacks. And poorly managed permissions, along with an exposed API key, can make the difference between a contained incident and a data breach.
Cloud environment represents a significant risk if permissions are not managed properly. This is because many cloud providers expose thousands of different API calls in their platform. And that requires thousands of different permissions to allow or deny the utilization of these API calls by human or machine identities. Cloud platforms use role-based access control, or RBAC for short, to make provisioning permissions to human or machine identities at the exact moment when they are required. RBAC provides great flexibility and is very dynamic in nature. The problem with RBAC is that it sacrifices both visibility and control, making it difficult to answer questions like, does this user or service really need this permission? Or can a user or a service use permission to escalate privileges in an unintended way? The lack of visibility can create what we called at CyberArk Labs shadow admins. Shadow admins are entities, users, compute instances, or functions that have been assigned a set of permissions or roles that might allow the unintended escalation of privileges. With those escalated privileges, there's room for casual mistakes or even abuse. For example, a shadow admin might have accidentally been given permission to generate API keys or reset passwords. In the hand of a malicious actor, this permission could lead to the escalation of privileges, which could lead to the compromise of sensitive data or the potential for a complete cloud takeover. The lack of control in RBAC can be a problem as well. This is because an entity, a user, a serverless function, a container, or a machine can dynamically assume roles and escalate privileges. This makes it extremely difficult for security and identity management teams to determine the legitimacy of permission utilizations or the temporary escalation of privileges.
In conclusion, the dynamic nature of the cloud RBAC authorization model and the flexibilities that come with it are the foundations of the authorization attack surface in the cloud, the exact attack surface that CyberArk Cloud Entitlements Manager can minimize. In a world where a breach can compromise both sensitive data and a company's reputation, it is critical to have systems in place that allow maximum flexibility without sacrificing fundamental security.
As you've just heard, there's been an explosion in the number and types of cloud identities, accounts, credentials, and permissions. And along with that comes a greatly expanded attack surface, especially when it comes to the authorization attack surface that Levi and Asaf discussed. Securing cloud infrastructure platforms is a huge job for cloud security architects and admins to manage. Different cloud platforms have unique permission models, and customers only have a limited number of tools to learn on. Mistakes are inevitable. Our team developed the CyberArk Cloud Entitlements Manager solution to help eliminate human error. Udi Mokadi is here to give us a little more background on the strategy and effort behind Cloud Entitlements Manager. Udi?
Thanks again, Marianne. Here at CyberArk, our mission is to provide a modern approach to identity security that is anchored in privilege to help protect our customers from the most advanced cyber threats. Simply put, identity security is our vision of delivering secure access and privilege for any identity to any resource using any device from anywhere. Our approach recognizes that the notion of physical or network perimeters has all but disappeared, and that identity is the new perimeter. It also recognizes that in today's hybrid and multi-cloud world, the number and types of privileged identities are expanding, human and non-human alike. Finally, identity security is based on the notion of least privilege, with an eye on reducing standing access and providing just the right level of access at just the right time. The solution we are announcing today, CyberArk Cloud Entitlements Manager, embodies all of these principles. It provides an identity-centric, AI-powered, and risk-based offering for managing the privilege and permissions of cloud identities. It's the latest addition to CyberArk's portfolio of solutions to secure privilege in the cloud, our collection of integrated offerings that are designed to enable customers to move fearlessly forward with their cloud initiatives. CyberArk Cloud Entitlements Manager originated in our very own CyberArk Labs and has been brought to life with assistance from across top-notch product development teams. Innovation isn't easy, and taking an idea from inception to product takes a lot of creativity, energy, and amazing teamwork, which is why I'm so incredibly proud of the CyberArk team for their ability to deliver products and solutions that meet real-world customer needs. Once you hear from them about the origins and delivery of CyberArk Cloud Entitlements Manager, I think you'll be as impressed as I am. Now let's go to our team in Israel to learn more.
The research group is the foundation of CyberArk Labs, the industry-only in-house team of R&D experts, starting with just 4 specialists 5 years ago, and the team has since grown to more than 50 dedicated members. They are among the best and brightest security practitioners in the industry. They study attack techniques and leveraging cutting-edge tools to gain important insight into today's most critical vulnerabilities. The research team's remarkable contribution over the years have improved the security of CyberArk customers and have elevated the expertise of the broader industry. Our research efforts are hyper-focused on understanding the attack cycle and the attacker mindset. This gives us better up-to-minute understanding of the security holes that attackers exploit, because their methods are constantly evolving. It's our mission to raise industry awareness that breaches will happen. Motivated attackers can and will bypass security measures, so we need to plan accordingly. Our research drives industry collaboration and improves the overall security postures of companies everywhere. Our innovation team is the latest addition to CyberArk Labs. It was formed last year to build top-notch security layers that addresses some of the most critical security issues the world is facing right now. At the corner of research team and the innovation team is CyberArk's new solution, Cloud Entitlements Manager. The innovation team has leveraged key findings from the research team, and together we have qualified and quantified the crucial role of least privileged permission assignments plays in mitigating system vulnerabilities. Cloud Entitlements Manager takes some of those findings into action and addresses the risk that affects every organization using cloud-based infrastructure. I'm extremely excited and proud of the work we accomplished at CyberArk Labs. Real research, uncovering real problems, and dedicated teams to build real solutions.
Hi, I'm Tal Kandel, Innovation Business Director at CyberArk. I'm extremely excited to tell you about our new solution, CyberArk Cloud Entitlements Manager. Cloud Entitlements Manager is an AI-powered cloud security service for reducing excessive cloud permissions. We built the solution with user experience and time to value in mind. And from tests with our design partners and beta customers, we know that it takes less than 1 hour to subscribe and fully deploy the solution. This makes it fast and easy to implement least privilege across AWS, AWS EKS, Azure and GCP environment. To see it in action, let's kick it to Chris Maroon, our very own CyberArk Global SE Director for Emerging Technologies.
Thanks, Tal. So today we're going to talk about cloud least privilege, which is becoming increasingly more important as our customers navigate this new reality, where really any identity can become privileged under certain circumstances. And that's what Cloud Entitlements Manager is all about. It's providing the tools to maintain least privilege for rapidly evolving platforms and identities.
Definitely. That's enough talking though. Show us how it works, Chris.
All right, so let's get started with our radar view. This is a centralized dashboard, and it measures our overall permissions across all of our identity stacks and across all of your IaaS subscriptions. So Cloud Entitlements Manager is pretty easy to use too. We can easily add a platform subscription or account, just like adding an AWS account for a new line of business. It also lets us act immediately on a permission that might be suspicious or malicious or just needs some tender loving care. So in the radar view, we can focus in on a specific platform. Let's start with AWS. We can see that there's multiple accounts here. Let's look at one in depth. So D1, for example, Cloud Entitlements Manager provides us with a list of entities, users, and groups and roles, and shows us an overall exposure level of 45%. It also provides us with top recommendations and shows our overall exposure level over time. But let's look closer at this account and all the entities inside of it. So what we can see here is all of the entitlements or entities for essentially this entire AWS account. Now we can examine the details of a specific role. So let's check out the details of this S3 bucket access role, which is an AWS role that allows access to an S3 bucket. Well, all the important information that you see is directly on the screen. Now, there's a proprietary exposure level model that will assign a risk based upon certain things like permissions that they have to recent or different resources, and then recent behavior or other various factors. There's an access map, which is going to detail out the permissions, and then a lot more valuable information.
What if we want to look at the resource level, Chris? For example, to see whether a cloud identity can access certain resources like S3 bucket.
You know, that's a great question. So Cloud Entitlements Manager Access Map will actually help us visualize the relationship between the resources and the entities with the permissions access to them. So if we look at this access map for, let's say, for example, Robert, who is one of the DBAs that uses AWS, Robert will give us in the access map his user account and then what resources he's able to access, and then even more resources underneath that. So you can see where Robert is able to gain access to this S3 bucket.
That visibility is powerful, but what can we do to remediate the situation?
So that's a great question as well. So Cloud Entitlements Manager lets us remediate overly excessive permissions for all platforms on the spot. So let's go back to that S3 bucket role that we were just looking at just a bit ago. So this S3 bucket, as we can see, is being accessed by this AWS role, and CyberArk's proprietary algorithm is going to generate a brand new suggested policy. So this suggested policy is going to come with two different steps. The number one is going to be a new deployable policy that it has the associated JSON in that AWS language, and it's going to change from platform to platform. Now, step two is going to be the ability to decide what to remove, which you can see at the bottom of the screen there is the two managed policies that is giving that user Robert excessive permissions. And then from there, all we need to do is take these recommendations over to AWS and manage it as a new managed policy. We can inject it there, or we can take the JSON and inject it as an inline policy.
Right, and this new custom policy is in line with what your organization identities actually need. So it won't impact your day-to-day operation. That sounds like cloud least privilege.
Exactly. So when we apply the new recommended policy and we rescan, the same role will have a lower exposure level and will no longer have an active recommendation, as you can see.
Right. This privilege is key to proactively defend against the major cloud breaches that we've seen from even a single misconfiguration. All of the cloud providers recommend cloud least privilege as a security best practice, as it's key to zero trust security models where organizations proactively defend against risk by limiting lateral movement from attackers.
One of the other cool things about Cloud Entitlements Manager is that you can use these CyberArk exposure levels to measure least privilege over time and across all the environments. So here we can see after cleaning up those several excessive permissions, the overall risk for that AWS account has gone down. That AWS environment has also gone down, and our overall exposure level score has also dropped, and this is reflected visually in the color of the radar.
That's great. Thanks, Chris. Cloud Entitlements Manager provides a simple approach to reducing excessive permissions across cloud environments. If you'd like to learn more, don't miss our full-length demo. We'll show off more of the product's features, benefits, and use cases. And with that, I'll pass it over to Karen Eldor, our Vice President of Product Management.
Thanks, Tal and Chris, for introducing us to Cloud Entitlements Manager. Cloud Entitlements Manager is another great example of a CyberArk innovation that keeps customers one step ahead of attackers. Cloud Entitlements Manager is part of an overall identity security solution from CyberArk that secures human and machine access to applications, infrastructure, and resources across hybrid and multi-cloud environments. Along with helping our customers reduce the threat of excessive cloud permissions with Cloud Entitlements Manager, CyberArk offers a broad solution for securing cloud identities. This includes securing access to the Cloud Management Console and any cloud service with either shared, privileged, or federated personal identities, or securing the cloud root and global admins with various security measures. CyberArk also understands that securing access to cloud infrastructure, like virtual machines in the cloud, requires extra care, which is why we offer strong and flexible security controls, such as multi-factor authentication, just-in-time access, session isolation and recording via a proxy-based approach, credential rotation, risk scoring, and more. For customers who are developing and deploying cloud-native applications, CyberArk secures development and programmatic access, whether leveraging Kubernetes or serverless approaches. CyberArk protects secrets and establishes secure programmatic access to resources within the DevOps pipeline and production environments. Customers can choose between CyberArk Privileged Cloud SaaS offering or hybrid deployment options on their premises or in their public cloud environment. This includes multi-region and multi-cloud deployment options. With all of CyberArk capabilities to secure cloud applications and infrastructure, it's no wonder that over 50% of our Fortune 500 customers secure their cloud workloads with us so they can scale their digital business initiatives with confidence.
Thanks, Karen. It's terrific that we're adding CyberArk Cloud Entitlements Manager to an already powerful set of solutions for securing the cloud, including privilege access management, our new adaptive offerings, along with secrets management for applications, tools, containers, and DevOps. CyberArk creates offerings that will help define cloud security models for years to come. But it's also important to note that we don't build products by ourselves. CyberArk's best and brightest work alongside customers, partners, and other industry specialists for their advice, insights, and expertise. With that in mind, let's hear from some of those we've talked to about delivering solutions that solve real-world challenges in securing cloud environments.
There is truly an advantage with CyberArk's Cloud Entitlements Manager, as it truly does allow you to take action on over-provisioned accounts, as it provides risk-based reporting on exposures and recommended remediation for those over-provisioned accounts.
Cloud Entitlement Manager will provide to us visibility to accesses into our cloud environment, specifically looking at bringing visibilities in the several tenants we have. As it is cloud, we can have our infrastructure quite complex into the cloud, and it's quite important that we get central visibilities and we ensure that we provision all the secret associated to it, or we manage the privileges that will be in the cloud. So for us, it's clearly giving us some eyes.
So the Cloud Entitlement Manager can reduce our risk in the cloud environment by scrutinizing account privileges and scrutinizing usage in real cases, and then notifying us and making us aware that there are gaps in the access that's granted or used, or actually not used, but granted to individuals in the cloud. Then we can assess their access and say, hey, this is something we weren't aware of that needs to be taken care of. So we'll take the recommended action. And with respect to the recommended action, so it is a great great step that you get presented with a playbook, a script that helps you actually take the action.
And the reporting that it provides is comprehensive and intuitive, and it truly does allow you to standardize and consolidate your reporting to give access to all of the security individuals necessary to understand your level of risks and your exposures, and the remediation necessary to correct some of those conditions that are reported through the tool itself.
It has been super exciting to see how much progress we made with Cloud Entitlements Manager, from the early days of working with design partners to the beta program we ran right before launch. As we engage with customers, we heard consistently that the problem of permissions drift, or permissions that collect like lint, is one that customers very much want to address, especially as workloads continue to move to the cloud at a rapid pace. And this problem is not well addressed by current solutions. Customers who have evaluated Cloud Entitlements Manager have raved that it has saved them tons of time since it provides a granular view of permissions all in one place. They love having remediation policies they can use immediately versus other solutions that just give recommendations and leave it to them to figure out how to get it done. But what customers love most of all about the solution is breathing a little easier, knowing that they have minimized the risk that excessive permissions pose to their organization. Because that's exactly what CyberArk Cloud Entitlement Manager is designed to do. For the first time, IAM security teams will have the holistic, consistent, and powerful tools they need to identify and mitigate risk across their multi-cloud environments, to maintain a universal least privilege posture, and to provide recommendations on IAM security with deployable remediation policies.
Thanks everyone for your incredible overview of all the different ways that CyberArk's Cloud Entitlements Manager and our broader portfolio can help customers secure privilege in the cloud. I want to remind our audience that you can access plenty of additional content on our Engagement Hub. There's a full-length product demo. You can hear more about how the Labs team is working to identify and secure the latest vulnerabilities, or learn about the recent Cloud Security Alliance survey done in conjunction with CyberArk. Check it out. I'd like to close by saying thank you to all of our global employees, partners, customers for your time, talent, and participation. And to our audience, we're sincerely grateful for your attention and interest. We'll be in touch soon. Enjoy the rest of your day.